Okay. Hi, everyone. We all ready to go? Woo! Woo! Everybody get hyped. It's late in the afternoon, and I know we all drank last night, but let's do it. We're here for this. I'm Allie Rustiello. I am the former VP of RevOps for Health Catalyst, currently doing consulting work under GTM Edit. My background is demand marketing, marketing ops, and revenue operations. I've been doing it for about 20 years.
And I'm Courtney Laster. I am now the Senior Director of Marketing Operations at Health Catalyst. Been with my company for almost 8 years now, in marketing ops for a long time. And a little bit about Health Catalyst. We are a technology company that serves, mostly providers and health systems. And we do a lot of M&A, and that has been a fun challenge of our job. So that will come up later in this.
In the deck. So what we're going to talk to you today about a little bit is how we use data orchestration to sort of fill the gaps of all of our main systems, because we know that, they can't do all the things that they claim they can do. So we're going to walk through some case studies and scenarios of things that we've done.
All right, so question for someone in the audience, whoever wants to answer. What is the most ridiculous data fire drill your boss has ever invented for you or asked?
Come on.
Someone.
Y'all have stories, because we all have stories. Anyone? Bueller?
Right there.
Wait for the microphone, because it's
Okay,
recording.
this is going to date me, so I apologize for that. I have a boss who once said, hey, we just got permission to use social media for our sales teams. We want you to go take our entire customer database and go through line by line and find, person by person, find their LinkedIn profile and paste it into the database so we can have that record.
Wow, that's a good one. So I have a little story that I kind of want to share. When I worked at BigCommerce, if you know what BigCommerce is, it's an e-commerce platform. Back then, the biggest competitors, and probably still are, is Shopify and Magento. And my boss was like, we just went to BuiltWith and we downloaded the domains of everyone that is on Shopify and Magento. What I need to do is I need you to put them in the system so that when someone comes in from one of those domains, we can flag them. And I was like, cool, how do we do that when it's not a person record? This was in 2017. There's no person record. All we had was Marketo and Salesforce. We had no other tools in our arsenal. And we were also struggling because we were super high volume. We would do at least 20,000 trial requests a month. So we were already struggling with Munchkin code lacking. If you're a Marketo shop, you know what that means. Munchkin code couldn't keep up with all of the data that we were pushing through. They hadn't moved us to the Orion platform, if y'all remember those days. So we were already struggling with our performance in general. And then he's like, also, let's go figure out how to do some sort of VLOOKUP magic in Marketo. And obviously, we all know that that's not a real thing that we can do. That makes it very difficult. And so I stumbled upon the term data orchestration, and I had never really heard of it before. Not really. I had heard whispers about it, but not what it was. And we stumbled across OpenPrize, and Ed did me a demo, and I was like, well, let's buy it, because he solved my problem right when I said, this is what I need to do. And he was like, well, let me tell you how to do it. So we bought it, and we could then do a lookup. We could remove the domain from the email address every time somebody hit the database, do a VLOOKUP, and mark them Magento or Shopify, and put them in awesome messaging that was very targeted based on their use case. We could prep all of our sales teams for it. It really scaled our demand engine in a totally different way, and there's no way that we could have done that without a data orchestration tool.
Or 7 interns.
Yes, or somebody scrubbing the data every day, which is be crazy, right? So spoilers, like we said, best-in-class tech has its limitations. It cannot do a lot of the things that we would dream of it doing, But it does the things that it does well, it does very well. Marketo sets up campaigns, pushes it to Salesforce, tracks individual activities when they're a known person. Like, it does these things well. And it does manage some data problems, but not all of them. There's just some nuances that it's never going to be able to do well. And that's how we ended up with OpenPrize.
And for context, our shop right now is Salesforce as our CRM and Marketo as our marketing automation platform. But we have worked with a variety of them, and I don't think each one has its limitations, pros and cons.
Yep, for sure. So we use data orchestration tool, you see that. And it's like magic. It just transforms things and makes our lives easier. So we're gonna walk you through a few of those use cases today. So the first one that we're gonna go through is operationalizing persona and buying unit. And what I mean by that is we all know, and if you listen to Forrester at all they do is harp about we have to market to the entire buying group. ABM is about personalizing messaging to the buying group. But what we haven't figured out doing, or a lot of people haven't figured out how to do, is really do that distinctive targeting so you can have that very personalized message within your database as soon as someone hits it. What I've heard a lot is, well, the salesperson will put in a contact role for them, or the BDR will like orchestrate that and do that for us. And my question always is, well, how are you doing that how are you doing the marketing piece of that? Like, that's so later in the game. If it's to a BDR, that person's been doing a lot of shopping and a lot of looking and a lot of marketing pieces, but you haven't been able to really like hone in on that and do that segmentation the way that you need to personalize that message. So this is gonna walk us through how we use OpenPrize to sort of set that up for us as soon as the record comes into the database. So we've got two records here, or it's the same record, but there's one version that's as entered and one version that's cleaned. OpenPrize has this amazing way to standardize job titles. So it comes in as, and this is a CFO example, right? They typed in CFO. They could have typed in CH, financial officer. They could have typed in chief finance officer. They could have typed in the full word. It doesn't matter.
They could have even misspelled chief.
Yes, they could have misspelled it. So there's a lot of ways that comes in some unique form or fashion, but it all is the same role. OpenPrize will take that and then orchestrate it into chief financial officer every time. So all of those records will have the exact same job title. It'll be normalized, and you can easily pull lists against it. Then from that, you can have all kinds of different fields and scaled down from that like a waterfall. So for example, we know chief financial officer, we know they sit in finance, obviously. They're probably the financial buyer or the ratifier of the deal. So you can put logic in and write business logic so that it's gonna say, chief financial officer sits in finance. They are the financial buyer as the persona. You can drip those down, and then you can also add in whatever buying group they would be a part of. And that buying group's really important in like especially like where we worked. It is really important to understand that you've got multiple buying groups within a persona or within an account, because we have several solutions. So our solutions could be clinical solutions, so a clinical staff might be buying us, but then we also have financial solutions where it's just the CFO group in the hospitals buying us. So two very different use cases, very different buying groups, and so you want to make sure that you know that you're pulling the right buying group into the right messaging. You also want to know that when you're doing your attribution models that you're making sure that they're accurate. One of the problems that we were running into before we had this was that, say there was an open opportunity with a hospital, and we know that it was with our financial empowerment product. So we were looking back in marketing, and we weren't getting very detailed, especially in like, just general roll-ups of reporting. We would say, well, all of these people from that account engaged in marketing, so marketing gets some sort of influence or credit for influencing that deal. And then immediately the CRO was like, but how can they? We don't know that that's the real buyer for that. You know, the two were not aligned very well. It was a whole, we all know how that goes. And so when you can get this granular and you can know that, well, we talked to 7 people in the buying group in different marketing campaigns and they responded to those campaigns, you can definitely understand the breadth of what marketing is doing to influence that opportunity versus maybe just one program that somebody might have gotten attribution for.
And one thing I'll point out that the great thing about this is, as we're talking about laying the data foundation to, at the end of the day, maybe have some automation, AI agents do it for us. We start with the control. So I know there's a lot of solutions that are like, we'll segment your data for you. We'll tell you, we'll put them in categories. For us in particular, like just a quick example is if someone enters our database as CMO, most people think Chief Marketing Officer. We are able to go back and change, like in our logic, we already have this, it's Chief Medical Officer for us. We don't have a marketing solution. So we start with that control of, you know, laying that data foundation.
Yep.
So it's being able to see under the hood and control these logic statements.
Yeah. So it can very much be tailored to your business is what she's getting at. So if you've got different types of titles that aren't even the norm that you might be going after, there's a very clear and easy way to write that logic into OpenPrize and have that start that waterfall for you.
Okay, another one of our challenges was trying to get account level product data out of our CRM to be able to execute on it. And we use a tool called CPQ, and it's amazing. Like it puts everything down to our subscription level, so we know our clients, all these line items for subscriptions. However, we do a lot of cross-selling, and it is a pain in the past when we were asked to, okay, we want to talk to clients and market product Y, so suppress people that have product Y, and then market product X. And we would have to go to sales ops, ask them to pull a list for the most accurate because it's changing all the time, and then put in a kind of a static list of Marketo to reference and suppress, you know, people that had product Y before we sent messaging about product Y, and so forth. So what we do, we have OpenPrize, and I'll get to your question. Do you want?
Oh, Configure Price Quote. It's your quoting tool in Salesforce.
Yeah. So it's like kind of what standardizes our all of our offering areas into actual line items that go on the contract, and are
like the things that would go in a shopping cart.
Yes.
Think about it that way.
Yeah. Thank you. So we do. Marketo does not have visibility to that. Those are live contracts, live subscriptions with, you know, they all have different renewal dates and or churning. So we have OpenPrize look at all of those line items and dedupe and then concatenate them onto one field on the account that then now Marketo can see that, and I can just create a simple dynamic list, smart list, using contains or does not contain, and then type in the product that I'm suppressing or the ones that we're releasing messaging about. So another challenge was we also have an attribution tool. However, because of the limitation of Salesforce, they have date fields, but you cannot touch those date fields. You cannot data load your way if you have a mistake in that date of when you know, a form didn't sync right, and that's not really when they got added to the campaign. And if you're talking about offline events, we want the attribution date to be the actual event date, so the campaign start date, versus if it's a form and a piece of content, we want it to be the responded date. And right now, our attribution system can only look at one date. And so we created attribution date, And we just put in simple logic for open prize to be if campaign type equals event, look at campaign start date, fill that into attribution date. If it is a digital form, we say look at member responded date, and that fills that in the attribution date. And the reason why we have it attribution date as its own field, because now I can go in and I can touch attribution date, and I can change it when the systems disconnect, or heaven forbid something happen, which we know, because
Nothing ever happens in ops, Courtney. Stop it.
the APIs never fail. So that was, it sounds like a simple problem, but coming up with these fun solutions and building them is its own, it's problem solving, right? I used to joke I love problem solving, but I realize I'm a problem finder. And I do have to give my colleague Lex Skeen a huge shout out.
Hope you're listening, Lex.
Yeah, you'll be tested. No, he should be here, but a lot of this was his baby as well, so.
And I think, we're showing you all of these things. These are like a few simple things that we've built. There's so many other things that we've built as basic workarounds where your marketing automation platform and your CRM can't do it on their own. Or if they could, it's really messy to be able to do it, where there's a simple solution using a data orchestration tool to help fill those gaps in. To me, it is, and we'll get to the AI part in a second. Sorry. We had to talk about AI because it's not a Mopsapalooza presentation without AI. But the meat and potatoes of it is that I feel like that should be a core function or a core tool in your arsenal for every GTM stack, because it's just so hard to get the nuances that everybody's asking for when you start to do analyzing or automating of any data or normalizing your database so that you can do things like run AI on it.
Yeah, and back to like what Mike said at the keynote was that we have all the data, we have it somewhere, but we have a lack of information or insight. And so what we're doing is we're taking our data that we know that we have, making it neat and clean, but we're making it actionable. And so we are preparing ourselves to now start leveraging AI and now have faith in it that it's not garbage in, garbage out, and then we can actually look to it to evaluate our personas now that we have to find them or pull them off opportunities, and then prioritize what's working, what's not, and not look at endless spreadsheets of attribution and try to infer ourselves.
Yep. And what I would say is using something like an open prize to normalize all of that data, standardize it, getting ready for action, that future-proofs your system. I mean, I can honestly say that the Health Catalyst systems are at about 95% data accuracy. Fully found records, the right types of people on the accounts. We have regular deletion processes that we would go through to make sure that we kept the database under a certain size. All of those things, and I've never been able to do that at a different company, mostly because those companies were large and out of control and global and very hard to get that level of standardization, but we were able to do it here. And for me, that's a feather in my cap. That's like one of my favorite things to like tell people when they're like, what do you do? And, when I'm trying to promote myself, is that, we really got to a data architecture that is solid and no duplication, no weird rogue things in it that throw off any of our reporting or marketing processes or sales processes.
And the other thing is we used to solve for these problems in other ways, including custom code, using our own enterprise data warehouse with SQL to solve for function. What is great about this is if I were to get laid off or hit by a bus tomorrow, someone else could come in and look what was built, and it's in layman's. Like, you can adjust, it doesn't take one person that only knows the systems. It's a very usable tool for
everything. And I will say too, when I started working there, when I heard that we were doing segmentation in the data warehouse and there was somebody that had to push the code once a month, into Salesforce so we can pick it up and see it, I was,
No, they exported it, then put it into the data warehouse, ran it, and then exported it and imported it back with
yeah,
the
I mean, just ridiculous. I was like, what are you even talking about? We're gonna fix this right now. Putting all of that into the control of your own team, and making sure that you're not dependent on other teams or other groups in the company to do a function that you know that you're in control of is like key to the success of an ops team, in my opinion.
So that leaves us just under 10 minutes for Q&A. We're gonna wait for you to get your mic.
Get your mic.
So how would you rate sort of the learning curve of OpenPrice compared to, let's say, someone who knows Marketo, can create smart campaigns? On what, what level of complexity is it? Because it sounds like you do pretty advanced stuff there.
I would say, because I was newer, she brought OpenPrice to me, and I had to learn it. It's if-then statements. So the way you look at Marketo, Pardot, Eloqua, like when you're looking at automations, if you meet this criteria, then you went to this. And the great thing about OpenPrice, which Marketo cannot do, is you have hierarchy, and you can make it hit a step or not. And so I would say that if you think in logic, I picked it up fairly quickly.
And the other good thing about it too is the team at OpenPrice is great and will build for you. There's also partners that you can partner with to help build it. It's more about they can take the logic that's in your brain and you can walk through it and talk through it and they can help you build it. So it's, to me, much better supported than even like a Marketo. I'm an old school Marketo user. Like I started in 2010 using it. And I remember having, back then, they actually sent someone from Marketo to your business to help you learn it because it was really intense compared to other tools out there. And I find that Marketo can be intimidating. And like right now in the world that we live in, it's a little bit harder to learn because it's all of, online and not very tailored to your business. So I think for me, and from even a support standpoint, I feel like, you get a lot of value out of the OpenPrice team.
Yeah, this might be a newbie question, so I apologize. Early in the presentation, you were talking about data extensions and being able to kind of add additional fields and align fields so that you can kind of coordinate, which is awesome, which sounds great. That kind of feels like you're doing something that Marketo can't do, and I'm slightly confused. Is this tool a full-on replacement for Marketo, or is it an add-on to Marketo, and all the other applications you've got in your MarTech stack?
It's definitely an add-on because this tool doesn't send your campaigns for you. I mean, you could probably hack it to do something like that, but that's a lot of tech debt and hard work. It is an addition. It's an enhancement, is what I would say.
It's an and.
Yeah, it is an and.
Not an or.
I think what it does is it just normalizes data in a way that lets Marketo do what it does best and like target the right people with the right message. And so you can focus that campaign building and repeatability in your campaigns, and that's your focus in Marketo, where your focus is laying your foundational data so that Marketo, or any other tool, Marketo, HubSpot, Salesforce, runs better and more effectively.
Hi. So I have a quick question. Given all of the things that you've accomplished here that you've just shared, which was really interesting, I'm curious what pain points still exist and what are your next big initiative? Like, what are the next things you're looking to solve for?
Well, if I can get granular, if we're speaking directly about Marketo, when we were pushing out some messaging for our opportunities, we had to do the same kind of thing. If the person is on the opportunity, then Marketo can see that. But it can't do it at the account level, and so we were wanting to suppress accounts that were in, the stage 6 or the closing stages of the opportunity. So we just like suppress them from just general marketing comms while sales does their thing. And we couldn't do that. Like again, it was pulling lists, reports in Salesforce, importing them into Marketo, like doing that daily. So we didn't touch someone that was in active communication or contract negotiations. So that was a fun one.
And we built it similar to the one where we were
The subscription
the
line.
subscription lines and aggregating it. We just aggregated
The opportunity
on an opportunity
product.
level. We put some fields on the account level. Put fields in that said check yes, true, stage 1 or higher. Check true, stage 4 or higher. And then it would uncheck it once it closes out.
Actually, we went a little deeper. We put product names.
Oh, see, I don't even know.
So, other projects. I mean, we'll talk after. There's a lot that. Wish Lex was here too, because we have a lot as we're rolling out all our views. And again, it's about we're joking, trying to make things actionable for us for marketing. But then I'm also using it, and I want to make things chewable and digestible for the marketers and for the salespeople who don't know operational speak. So that's my next kind of project.
Do you think this would be an appropriate tool if you have a Salesforce instance that's pretty old and a lot of marketers who maybe, I have a client that has multiple marketing teams of varying skill level, and they're starting to be very concerned about how those marketing teams are doing things that interact with the Salesforce data. So I've kind of suggested something like this might be a buffer.
Yes.
That would allow that. Would that work that way?
It would. It would and it can, and we actually use it and take away, I guess, some responsibilities, especially with like, I'll just give a direct example for like passing off a MQL or marketing lead to sales. We took it out. We were relying on sales to like switch the life cycle. We couldn't. So now we have all these automations running in the background. So it is not something that our marketers log into daily, and it's not something sales logs into daily, but it is something operations uses daily, and it's a lot of set and forget, and it runs on timetables or however much you want or a little as you want. And I take away a lot of controls from them so they can't mess up my clean, standardized data.
And I would also say too, if you're really trying to say marketing team can't do certain things, like put almost like permission-based things in, I think it would definitely be a tool that could do that, because the granularity of what you're getting at is so deep in a way that even if you had role-based in Marketo, that I don't think it could do that as granular as you're probably wanting it. Anybody else?
We didn't even get in account hierarchies, lead routing, deduplication.
Yeah.
We just pulled out a few examples, but you know, if it's data and you want to clean it,
Yep.
Guys, you're-
The washing machine program is the greatest thing. That was like the first use case I had for it. It was a little more advanced than like your average one, but just normalizing all of your names, your people names, your account names coming into sentence case, making sure that those phone numbers are all country coded and in a way that like an auto dialer could pick it up. Those things are so monumental, especially if you have a big BDR team that's doing a lot of smiling and dialing. Those things are really big for them. And to know that once they get that lead, everything is lined up and beautiful for them. And there's no like weird first names, like dirty words. Like we can cull all of that out and put all of that, take away all of those things.
we actually didn't accidentally just sent out an email. My SVP is watching. It was a long time ago, where we added the first name token to way bigger of a data pool than I wanted, and I was like, crap, like, oh no, I don't know if there's like curse words or Donald Duck
Yes.
or something in there, and then I went back and like did some smart lists, and I was like, oh, OpenPrice cleaned it all.
Yeah.
So we were good.
Okay.
All right, we're at time.
I think we're good. Thank you.